VOD watchers, welcome in gamers. Today we're going to be doing some PvPoke study session shenanigans. It is going to be a little bit different to how it's been in the past, in the past I've very much gone in, I guess, with the content in mind, in the sense that, you know, I'm approaching it from the perspective of, well, I guess when I first did it, and this was at the start of, it was right after the World Championships actually. I did the first episode of this series that was looking at the Feraligatr, Clodsire, and what was the third one? Surely not Dunsparce. Feraligatr, Clodsire, maybe it was, I don't know. Anyway, it's actually irrelevant. Anyway, and so I went in with that in mind, and I did learn some things, but in general, I very quickly pivoted to being much more education focused, I guess, which all well and good from the content side of things, but the thing that did legitimately suffer is how much I was actually absorbing. Because in my head, I guess I was constantly focused on, like, what's the next go, and so I wasn't really absorbing a lot of the information. And so I think today part of the aim is actually just going to be, maybe focusing a little less on content and a little more on actually absorbing the information. And so that's sort of the aim of the day. I will do all the things like posting in the Discord and such. So let's go to video alert at stream chatters live for some PvPoke study shenanigans, and we'll grab the Twitch link. Hey, yeah, pop that in there. Boop. Okay, that's all sent off. I'm not gonna, tweet or anything again, because we're sort of gonna be a little more, I guess selfish is sort of the right word, but it's not always a bad thing, I guess. But Evo, welcome in. Good to see you. I know that some of these streams have been, well, now that we've hit the daylight savings bit, well, I guess we've double hit daylight savings, in that the US hit it last month, we hit it this month. And so my streams are actually 2 hours later in your time zone, or 2 hours later for you than they were 2 months ago, I suppose. So things do end up getting pretty late, especially, I mean, the Australia's Shield stream last night went really, it started very late, because it was supposed to start earlier. I was actually the reason it was delayed, but it went alright. So where am I going? Okay. I've actually got other PvPoke tabs open for some reason. Let me know if the audio is fine as well. I think it should be okay. I did remember to actually, adjust the thingo this time. Does my cursor show up on screen? It doesn't look like it. Oh no, there it is there. There it is. Oh, it's because I need to be clicked into the tab. I see. Time to take some notes. We'll see how we go. Hello, apparently that's... Okay. So, yeah, as I was sort of saying before, and I'm sure I'll repeat this a little bit later, I am going to be a little more... Cheers, legend, and welcome in, by the way. Good to see ya. And so I think that today we will be... How do I put this? Going back to basics a little bit. And so I'm going to start from the ground up. We're going to look at some very basic Pokemon. Traditionally, this is around the time, or I guess a week ago, is around the time that I would be doing a deep dive on Tinkaton. And we probably will do that today, at the very least. But it's going to be a little more scattershot. It's not going to be... I'm not planning on turning this into a YouTube video, is, I guess, the best way to, I guess, summarize what's going to happen today, in that it's going to be a lot more scattershot. So... and like, the truth be told, the deep dive PvPoke sort of edited versions on YouTube, they were like performing, the interest was waning, so I was like, okay, that's fine. It can still be streamed content, and I'll still look, we'll see how we go. And so I guess, is Tinkaton a fair place to start? It's probably a reasonable place to start, so let's start with Tinkaton actually. So let's just go to the Great League. Whoops, I instantly closed the tab. Okay, so as we, as many of us have seen, Shadow Jumpluff has jumped up into that #1 slot. So it is going to be, I'm not really sure why, to be honest with you. Like, we saw Tinkaton. Actually, what part of my screen is visible? It goes down to the very bottom and it goes up to the very top. Oh, perfect. Cool. Sometimes you have to be a little bit concerned, like, oh, are we cutting bits off? But no, it's all here. So Yeah, I'm not really sure why. So obviously Tinkaton's sort of existence does push down some of the other picks. So Pokemon like Malamar, although Malamar has actually jumped up big as well. It's up at number 4. I'm not really sure what the deal is. Clearly this is just where the iterations have landed. I guess in some sense, like maybe Clodsire is bigger, and that makes Malamar bigger. Maybe. I'm not sure. It's not that important in the grand scheme of things, if we're being totally honest. So let's just take a look at Tinkaton, because it is going to be tournament legal as of, I guess, at some point in the next 24 hours. So when you next compete in a tournament, whether it be in the regional circuit, whether it be in a local, Tinkaton is now going to be eligible. And so obviously the Incinerate users are pretty deadly. One thing we will have to look at is the moveset. Originally, I was thinking that Play Rough Bulldoze would be the way to go. And then I was kind of like, maybe Heavy Slam Play Rough is the way to go. Now I'm kind of thinking that Bulldoze Heavy Slam might be the way to go in the sort of Open Great League meta. Sort of depends what is going to be running around, but and I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens in Seville this weekend, because that's going to be the big broadcasted regional. And so, unfortunately, I've done some practice with it, and in matchups where it's doing neutral damage, it is so pathetic. It does such little damage. It's so underwhelming. And so let's just, what are going to be some of the big Pokemon? So let's look at Drapion, I suppose is going to be a good one to look at. I mean, let's look at Drapion, Azumarill. We should look at Annihilate, because allegedly it's going to beat that as well. The Azumarill. It actually has Azumarill's on loss, although I guess that's with the specific moveset maybe. Alolan Sandslash, although I'd prefer to look at the non-shadow, to be honest. I think the PvPoke meta sort of group needs to be updated a little bit. Even the fact that like Grumpig is here, and what was a Pokemon I was really surprised wasn't here? I mean, Tinkaton should probably be added in for a start, I guess. We could look at Clodsire. We could look at Corviknight, although we know how that one's going to go. We could look at the Mudslappers as well. Let's get Claydol. And then I guess we could look at Feraligatr. It's making a little bit of a resurgence. Let's sort of just go through all of this, to be honest with you. And let's look at the Tinkaton Mirror. We could look at Lapras, Dugong, Superior Prime. I mean, like, this is all... I guess this is what we're coming here for, to be honest with you. Mandibuzz isn't going to be good, but we'll look anyway. Guzzlord. Oh, sorry. It's going to be very good. Although, maybe it's moveset dependent. We'll see. So, Tinkaton into Drapion. This is one of those ones where I think movesets are going to be pretty huge. You can see that, you know, in the default scenario, you bait a Heavy Slam and then land a Play Rough. That, I don't like these sorts of things when there's one turn difference. You can see that the Aqua Tail is actually banked at the end here, so I don't trust this. So let's look at what if we have straight Heavy Slam. Tinkaton loses. Oh. Heavy Slam's cheaper than Play Rough, right? Heavy Slam's only 6. Play Rough is the one that's at 7. Oh wait, Fairy Wind is 9 energy. Oh yeah, 5463. Yeah. It's just, is it literally that slight damage difference? Play Rough does 67, Heavy Slam does 52. Yeah, the Play Rough Heavy Slam difference is actually enough that Drapion survives. That's literally the damage differential here. That this Charge Attack doesn't KO, and Drapion is able to get that KOing Aqua Tail. Okay, let's ditch Play Rough. Let's put Bulldoze on this thing. Because presumably Bulldoze, it does a little less raw damage than Heavy Slam, but you have to assume. I mean, yeah, this is clearly a much better matchup. Anything that beats Azu is good in my book. Fair. And so, like, I guess this is one of the key matchups that you want Bulldoze for. In that you can go straight Bulldoze. It's your quickest charge attack. Drapion is absolutely everywhere in the Open Great League meta, so this sort of makes sense. Bulldoze does have the 50-50 chance of putting a defense debuff on your opponent as well, which... let's actually see if that's important. Like, let's say we never get a debuff. Okay, we still win at the exact same time. Like, it's 3 Bulldozers that is enough to KO regardless, whether there's debuffs or not. if you happen to get it at the very start, does that do anything? Not really. No, they've like barely got any health. It's almost at the point that you could play rough down, Fairy Wind down, but you need 2 more Fairy Winds there. What? Actually, you would get this, right? If you throw Fairy Wind here instead. You actually do barely Fairy Wind down before they get their move off, but, you know, I wouldn't be banking on this one. Plus, it's probably, like, IV dependent. Like, you know, if you put more bulk on this guy, maximize. Oh, no, you still actually... Oh, no, because now you can throw Aqua Tail. Oh, but Tinkaton can throw Bulldoze. Okay, so even if it is bulky, Tinkaton is able to take this one out anyway. Oh, wait, we were looking at the Fairy Wind down. So, yeah. I guess the point is that you shouldn't be able to Fairy Wind down in most circumstances. There's tiny windows where you can. It depends on the Drapion's bulk. If they're a high ranked Drapion, it's going to be a no can do regardless. If it's a low bulk Drapion, then and if you get the debuff on that first Bulldoze, maybe. Actually, maybe if you get the Bulldoze on the second one, you can redo it. Sandbox mode. Oh, whoopsies. Let's turn this into a Fairy Wind. Okay, so if you get 2 debuffs in a row, you can much more comfortably farm down. But like, we're at the point where 1 more Poison Sting would get the Aqua Tail, and attack stat wise, Drapion is going to win charge attack priority. So that's a toughie. Silly Goofy! Haven't been able to join a stream in a while since it's late here when you stream. Well, welcome in. I know that, yeah, most of my streams are obviously in the Oceanic evening, in the Australian evening. I actually default so often to saying Oceania, because I'm trying to avoid the habit of calling it like the Australian region on like Australian broadcasts and stuff, because it's like, I don't want to be discounting the New Zealand players, even though I'm pretty sure there were literally 0 New Zealand players at the Brisbane Regional Championship. But, you know, it is, as much as Australia gets all the benefits in terms of they're in Australia and New Zealanders have to travel further, it is part of their region still, I suppose. But, it was like 5 a.m. when I first found your stream. Oh boy. Yeah, I think, well, when I really picked up streaming proper at the start of this year, it was in my holiday break as well. So streams are a little bit more middle of the day-ish Australia time, but we might see a return of that sort of thing in the future as well. But we'll see. But as is, look, Bulldoze is important. Drapion wins charge attack priority. If you go, like, let's just get out of sandbox mode and let's just assume we have our straight Bulldoze guy. We'll just re-hit battle. We win all even shields, so like the 0s. We can tank 2 Aqua Tails pretty decently. They can't tank 2 Bulldozes. The Crunch also does less damage than Aqua Tail. The only reason you would go for Crunch is to try and get the debuff. It as a Hail Mary play, 30% chance. And then in the 2 shield, we have to eat 2 Aqua Tails. They have to eat 1 Bulldoze, but alongside the Fairy Winds, it's too much for them. They can't deal with it. Okay. Look, in my mind, because of the prevalence, not only of Drapion, but the prevalence of the Drapion safe swap, to me, this means that in Open Great League, you probably need to be running Bulldoze. I think it's actually a must bring, which, again, does go against my sort of previous notion of what Tinkaton should be doing. I guess that's something we should look at though. Is actually, well, first let's look at these sort of Drapion with more shield matchups. But then I also want to look at what happens if Drapion has an energy advantage. So let's see here. So if we're in the Drapion has 2 shields. Oh wait, what is this matchup? Oh, Drapion has 1 shield, Tinkaton has 0. We can't tank 3 Aqua Tails versus 1 Bulldoze. That's fair enough. So like, that's a lot of energy advantage. And then the 2 shield versus 1. Yeah, we only land 1 Bulldoze. It is defense debuffed Bulldoze, so Tinkaton actually gets pretty close here, to be honest with you. 2 shield versus 1. So this sort of tells you that if you're the Tinkaton, getting an energy advantage, 2 Fairy Wind energy advantage, could actually be more beneficial than the shield you might have to pay for this sort of matchup. So something to keep in mind, I suppose. But let's look at what happens if Drapion does have an energy advantage, like it usually does on safe swaps. Dangerhawk, are you planning on going to Melbourne Regionals? I will definitely be there. Again, the hope is that I'll be casting. In that I hope there's a stream. It's sort of an odd spot because I sort of say like I hope I'm casting. It's not like I do have the choice of like if there is a broadcast, which is what I'm actually hoping for, I am picking the casters. So it's not like I'm hoping to get picked on that front, I suppose, which is kind of interesting. But anyway, let's go back to the one shield and give Drapion some energy. So we can see in the default, it says it's 5 turns of difference because we need 2 extra poison stings and then 1 turn to throw the move. So I assume we don't need the damage, right? Like if we just let's give 3 poison stings because that covers the 5 turns. Tinkaton loses by 3 turns difference. Wait, does that check out? Hang on, let's go back down to 2. Now we lose by 1 turn. What happened to that 5th turn? Why do we lose by 5 turns? All of a sudden, adding a 4-turn difference seems to have closed it up. But basically, that means that if Drapion literally has 2 poison stings of advantage, Tinkaton's in trouble because Drapion wins charge attack priority. So if there's a Drapion swap in and you have a Tinkaton in the back and you want to use Tinkaton as your counter, you actually need to instant swap it, which is it's a little scary, I'll be honest. But, you know, it's something. How can you remember this? Look, it's piece by piece. And I actually said this at the start of the stream. Usually I'm doing this for a content piece. I'm doing it for a YouTube video. Today, that's not going to be the case. I'm going to try and focus on the learning part of things. So maybe I should even be writing notes. Maybe I will write notes and then I can sort of recap it at the end. But my current plan is that this won't be a YouTube video. So this will be stream only. I guess it'll be on the PvP Steve VODs channel, technically. It would be a video. If Steve isn't going to Melbourne, then is Steve really a Pogo PvPer? I mean, there's plenty of Pogo PvPers that aren't coming along to Melbourne. But yeah, I will definitely be there. I haven't regoed because I'm hoping there is a stream. I'll be in some trouble if there isn't a stream. Yo, Z-Time, welcome in. Doing well. We've got some learning ahead of us, to say the least. But yeah, so basically Tinkaton, it's a very good lead answer. Like if you have a Tinkaton in the lead versus Drapion in the lead, bingo, bango, bongo, you're in a great spot. But if Drapion is a safe swap and you don't instant respond with the Tinkaton, you're in a tough spot. You can, what happens if they do something really rogue and go for like the crunch debuff? Like, does that potentially throw things out of whack? So let's go back to the one shield, no energy advantage. Let's go sandbox mode. So we have to play around a little bit. Let's go poison sting, boop, and let's go for the crunch. Oh wait, next one, go for the crunch. Okay, and we get the debuff. All of a sudden, okay, in this scenario, we're getting, let's turn this to a bulldoze. Let's shield it. Crunch debuff, land the bulldoze. Now we're just going to throw Aqua Tails because it is the more damaging move. Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail. Tinkaton is going to throw straight bulldoze. No reason to delay. Let's just go with no debuffs so far. Bulldoze. Bulldoze. Aqua Tail. Ooh, okay. So, Drapion actually has kind of a crazy win con here. If Drapion goes for the crunch and gets the 30% chance of a debuff, it can actually go straight Aqua Tail for the win. Oh wait, this is 0 shields. Oh, let's assume this is shielded. Never. Oh no, yeah. Drapion still... Oh no, now you can throw a book. Okay, never mind. False alarm. False alarm, Tinkaton even still has it, even in this crazy attempt at a win con scenario. Worth a check though. Like, you know, if you're in a match and all of a sudden Drapion like gets a crunch debuff on you, you're like, how did this matchup go? But yeah, very strong neutral answer in the lead. Not a good safe swap answer unless you instant swap. Yes, back to 100k channel points. Congratulations, Stevie. I go shopping now. Well done. I distinctly remember you saying you have zero sympathy for people who don't register and visit when it caps, so I feel like you're tempting fate with these comments. Yeah, I'm almost at the point. Angel, thanks for the follow. I put myself in a different category when the stream is the thinger. Oh heck yeah. Cheap viewers. Still bonkers that I can't remove it, but oh well. Doesn't really matter to... Oh, it's restricted. I don't know what that means. But, yeah, I think I'm in a slightly different camp, but if it caps, then I might not go. Like, if I can't register and it caps because of the stream thing, it's like, if there's no stream, then a trip to Melbourne wouldn't be good for him. Wouldn't be good for me. Why not? Like, I would enjoy hanging out with people, but I'd be pretty bored not competing, to be honest. I'd be pretty bored not getting to actually play. So all right, what are we studying? In essence, we're sort of this is a bit of a general purpose one. So we're starting off looking at Tinkaton, because Tinkaton is obviously the big guy. I'm not turning into a YouTube video. We're just sort of vibing. We're just gonna sort of, you know, try and focus and learn. And so I guess, you know, we haven't progressed very far, to be honest with you, but we'll keep learning. We'll keep going. So I guess if you instant swap and they get one poison sting, you're fine. Otherwise, you're in trouble. I guess actually what we have to now ask is, like, say you're running that Heavy Slam. Heavy Slam does do slightly more damage than the Bulldoze. So in that scenario where we have 1-2 poison sting advantage on Drapion, we still lose. Bulldoze. And we get... Okay, the problem is that we're not getting to this last Bulldoze. So Heavy Slam doesn't matter. It's not that damage differential, I guess. Fair enough. Everyone putting themselves in different categories. Humble Steve. It's from a casting perspective. I mean, come on now. Come on. I think it's fair enough to be on a different category in this one. We're studying how you didn't win the Australis Shield last night. Ouch. Ouch. Hope you have good notes. Test this Friday. Oh, well, I better study for Friday then. Okay. So I guess the other thing I wanted to check, because they sort of say that Tinkaton is a Drapion Azu core breaker. Now that we know that Tinkaton beats Drapion hard in the head-to-head, how does it go into the Azumarill? Because in the default sim here with Play Rough Heavy Slam, it does lose by 1 turn. But let's ditch Play Rough and let's put on Bulldoze and see what this does for us. Wins by 1 turn. Straight Heavy Slam. So why does it go for the Play Rough earlier? I don't get it, because it even does like less damage. Oh, sorry, it costs more energy. And it's getting shielded in this scenario. And then it goes for the straight Heavy Slams. If you can win straight Heavy Slam, go straight Heavy Slam, man. We do win Charge Attack priority as the Tinkaton. They're going for the Ice Beam bait, and even when Azumarill baits and gets this Play Rough, they are at the Charge Attack. Oh, okay. This is so tight, in that it's possible that the Play Rough doesn't KO. If Tinkaton is bulky enough, then maybe even if Azumarill gets this Play Rough, it doesn't work. But Tinkaton needs to be bulky enough. And seeing as the default rank is like, 100 and something, you probably need a pretty bulky one. Well, what happens if we have like the rank 1 Azumarill? Because that's more likely than like a rank 1 Tinkaton. Oh, hold up. The Play Rough wouldn't be enough to KO. Oh, that gets really IV dicey. So check your Tinkaton IVs. Maybe you do have to start trading them instead of going for the Egg IV Tinkaton, actually. Oh, okay. Noted. Okay. Anyway, let's go back to the, I guess, standard scenarios. Default. So in the default, you can just heavy slam all the way through the one shield, but it's literally one turn. You cannot swap into this matchup. What about the zero shield? Zero shield, heavy slam, heavy slam, heavy slam. Way more simple. Azumarill needs another 2 bubbles. In the 2 shield, heavy slam, heavy slam, heavy slam, heavy slam. Azumarill only needs 1 more bubble. So this is another, like, this is really similar in that Tinkaton can win in the head-to-head, but if it's coming in as an answer after they've got any energy at all, Tinkaton isn't as good of a response, to be honest with you. Does this make Tinkaton like a lead Pokemon? But there's so many things that are countering it in the lead. I'm not sure. This is a little scary. I know that they're talking about Tinkaton as a core breaker, but it seems like a tumultuous core breaker, to say the least. I guess that's something, though. I always underestimate talent. Relied on Basti too long and your skills have atrophied? Who are you talking about? And welcome in, gamer. Hope you're doing well. So I need to grab the door real quick. Literally be back in like so quick, like 20 seconds. BRB. Hi. Evo, thanks for the biddy. Do you get a glass of water pre-stream? I did not. I refused. Okay. So this is... Okay, what if we go for a different moveset? Like, what if we put something... Actually, this is interesting. What if you go fishing for Bulldoze debuffs? Because Bulldoze... We are getting close to the point... Yeah, what if we go fishing for Bulldoze debuffs? Wait, where are we? Let's go to the one shield. Say instead of the heavy slam, we go for a Bulldoze. And we get the debuff. Oh, now we have to click all of the buttons again. Oh, because we actually have to get like good move timing. Oh, it's so much more annoying. It was so easy on the Drapion because it was automatically, there was no such thing as good move timing because they're all the same turns. But here you actually have to deal with the 3 turn versus 2 turn. Oh, that's really annoying. Oh dear. Oh dear. Do we math it out? Oh, okay, let's math it out. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Wait, is that right? Now we're throwing 1, 2, 3. We've thrown 6. No, that's not right. Reset. Oh, that's so annoying. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 2, 2, 3, 1, and throw. Is this how PvPoke works? We've done 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, and throw. Okay. Apply buffs. Now Azumarill just does 1 and throw every time, and it was going for an Ice Beam and a Play Rough, right? Oh, this is so annoying. I wish you could just auto fill it in, to be honest with you. Okay, well, what if we actually just like go easy mode? Whoops. And we just replace the 1 charge attack. Let's just make this Bulldoze. And apply debuffs. Okay. It's not that much of an advantage, to be honest with you. It's only like, you know, it's not that good. If we're being real with ourselves, this hasn't given us that much of an advantage. and it's only a 50-50 chance to just get the debuff. If this doesn't happen, you still win, I guess. But that's just like it was in the end. Oh, but now it is actually getting the bait, so it's actually sort of pretending that we're in an even better spot. After critically studying my loss last night, I've discovered Sableye can beat Talon in CMP. It's close, right? Pretty close attack stats. Okay. So, is it seriously, like, are we here again? Are we seriously here again? This thing doesn't deal with it with energy. What's Playref look like? Okay, Playref is actually, like, way better. So, Playref is a matchup. Oh, no, but it loses this. Oh, because it's getting the bait call, or the actually big charge attack called. So, it's not even guaranteed. At least Heavy Slam does actually guarantee the win, 1 turn difference. It guarantees it on CMP, assuming you throw it on perfect timing, which isn't that hard as the 2-turn move versus a 3-turn move. It's not that tricky. It's a lot easier than other things. But you can even shield force your way through. Alright. Well, now I'm sort of curious, like... So like Drapion, for example, right? If you have something like a Marowak, Shadow Cane to Marowak, in the head-to-head, Marowak is going to take that thing out. You know, straight Mud Slap all the way down. You're going to shield 1 crunch, eat 1 crunch, you take it down. If Drapion needs 7 turns of difference, so it needs to get to another Aqua Tail, which it's 3 Poison Stings away, and then it needs to throw it. But that's only 2 more Mud Slaps. So I guess it's sort of just a case of if you're coming into a loaded Drapion, I suppose. I guess I'm just trying to think through, how do you counter a Drapion with energy? I guess the answer is a Azumarill swap in, right? Like, you bring in a Azumarill and you soak up the damage. Is sort of the answer in the grand scheme of things. One message was deleted. Google URL. To Wii Sports. I can't even improve it, unfortunately. I should read chat. I'm being a rebel watching Steve while at work. Hey, I won't tell. Still haven't gotten a Tinkatink. I've got a rank 1 Tinkaton for Ultra League. The amount of XL candies to build a level 49.5 might take a bit. And personally, I'd be leaning more towards using that XL candy for Tinkatink for Great League. Is that the one? I've got 10 to trade with locals or TUSQ chats. Whoa. I've got some to trade as well, but I haven't actually reached out to anyone. I don't know if Carter Sun's still... Carter Sun. I need to get my Carters sorted. I'm so unused to there being 2 of you. I need Carter Deems. I got 9 Tinkatinks to trade with. Hey, one way. Okay. I guess that's our answer, is you just have to soak with the Azumarill. Marowak is a little bit better of a response. Tinkaton is an instant response, but otherwise you're in some trouble. What else can you use to soak up Sableye? And this is a question for chat, by the way. Oh, it's Tinkatuff. Yeah, thank you. It is Tinkatuff. I've hatched 3 eggs and I've only got an Elekid. It is a 1 in 4 chance, so sometimes that happens. Thanks to the casters. Yeah, does anyone have any, like, insight into when you are playing Open Great League? How do you get around Shadow Drapion safe swap with energy? Do you just, like you see a Drapion on the other team, how do you approach your team building? Do you just bring in bulky options that can soak damage? For example, a Lapras or an Azumarill to soak up that energy? Or do you go for like hard counter scenarios? But even the hard counter scenarios like Marowak, you can't even, you can't let them get that far ahead, to be honest with you. So it feels like bringing in sponges is the only way to get through. Annihilape is one that's kind of interesting for Tinkaton. Because, I mean, you're a steel type, but you have the fairy typing as well. So these counters are, you know, they're doing 6 damage. Fairy Wind's super effective, also doing 6 damage. And so you sort of go down at a similar rate. But this Playref one, obviously Playref does a lot of damage. What if we don't have Playref? What if it's Bulldoze Heavy Slam? We lose. We go for a Heavy Slam and a Bulldoze. They get the close combat. If they never land a close combat, what are we looking like? Tinkaton wins. They need to throw close combat. chip and dip. Oh, so as in, like, what, you swap... Oh, actually, that is true. It is a different scenario if they swap into their Drapion. I guess it depends what you've got in the lead, but if you can just put a little bit of damage on there, but I Aerial Ace into my own Drake. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, I guess, actually. How does... I know that, like, I've already said, this is not necessarily a Tinkaton study set, so let's just look at... Like, let's go Drapion, best Drapion. Say we've been chipped down, starting HP. I don't know. Call it. Even if it's like 80. And we fight it out. Ooh, we only win by 1. Oh, we're actually Poison Sting down before the move comes up. Okay, so it actually is pretty dicey. Maybe you can get the Poison Sting down, maybe you can't. Kind of interesting. In a way, you're an Aqua Tail range. Because like regular Drapion, 2 Aqua Tails, it does like 80% of damage, and all of these Poison Stings add up. It's sort of like, because an Aqua Tail does like 38%, each of these Poison Stings charging up to it does 2.5, 2.6%, so you add on sort of 10% per Aqua Tail, and so you can sort of think of it like each Aqua Tail is doing about 50%. Is, I guess, one way to sort of view the numbers. But it does mean that you do hang on if a Drapion with energy comes at you. Which you do need. Okay. Fair enough. Also, top 6 hype in terms of teams that are 3 players and more for Oceania in Unite. Yeah, well, I'm still not sure about the... I don't know what that other team was that you were talking about that existed, because I definitely didn't count. Didn't count one of them. But, so Tinkaton, better to build for Great League than Tinkaton for Ultra League. Obviously, I play Great League a lot more than Ultra. Both are going to require the same amount of XLs. I think it really does just depend on what you're more likely to use, is the bottom line. When they were announced, it was actually assumed that Tinkaton was going to be better than Tinkaton in Great League, is what people assumed at first. Maybe it was pre-moves changing, I'm not sure, but it doesn't seem to be how it's played out, so I'm not really sure. It depends how much of an Ultra League player you are, I think. We didn't look at the Annihilate matchup. Okay, well anyway, we're in the Sandslash one now. Let's put Bulldoze, Heavy Slam one. You do win. You land a Bulldoze and a Heavy Slam to get the win, and it's just before they get to their second drill run. So one drill run you can take. You don't love it, but you can technically take it. We lose the 0s and the 2s though. So if you're a Tinkaton in the lead, Sandslash can choose to double shield. You won't get to your last Bulldoze. This is relying on an Ice Punch bait. What if you go straight drill run? Tinkaton still loses straight drill run. There you go. Shadow Jump off Aerial Ace and 5 Fairy Winds put Drape into a good range. Okay, okay. So jump, okay. I see the logic. Also, I have an Easter egg. Happy Easter, guys. The question I was wondering is, what if these early Bulldozers are actually the ones that get the debuff? Because you can actually see post debuff, these Fairy Winds are doing 3 damage instead of 2 damage. I don't think it's enough. There's still 19 HP sitting over here. But let's just look. If I'm the Tinkaton, I'm in the lead. I'm facing a Sandslash. I'm like, uh-oh, they can beat me in the 2 shield. Let's see how the first Bulldoze goes. And we get the debuff. Why are we not throwing it straight away? Are we baiting the Heavy Slam? Like, I know it does technically more damage, but like, let's just go for it, man. Let's Fairy Wind. Let's make this Bulldoze. Ugh. Okay. Drill run. Bulldoze. Oh my gosh. Bulldoze. No. Shield this attack. Let's give him best case. Drill run. Oh. Oh, now we did. Oh, okay. I'm not very efficient at using the sandbox mode. I'll be reasonably honest with you. Okay. One shield scenario, if we get the debuff, we do get the win. We got the win without the sort of fancy debuff anyway. Tink berries carving fringe meta potential. Yeah. Sorry, Carby. Let's shield this one. Let's put ourselves in the 2 shield. I guess let's shield this. Yeah, they've both burned 2 shields. Then, does this drill run KO? It does KO. Well, it doesn't. That's enough. So even if you get that early bulldoze debuff, it doesn't help you. Why didn't you get the double? 1 in 4 chance of this happening. You still lose. Unlucky. The fairy wind damage doesn't increase again. And this bulldoze is being shielded. Unlucky. So Tinkaton can only beat Sandsash in the 1 shield. I'll be honest, I kind of thought Tinkaton was a little better than... I feel like people are really hyping it up. It doesn't seem that crazy. Maybe if you get energy advantage. But how do you get energy advantage on Tinkaton? You soft lose a matchup and you get a bit of farm. But there's so many Pokemon that sort of actually like hard counter you. Like say the opponent has a Gastrodon or any Mud Slapper in the back. All of a sudden, your energy's not that helpful to you. Like let's put Gastrodon in. Like it dominates. +20 turns. You can put an extra 10 Fairy Winds on this puppy and it's not going to do anything. Heavy Slam does 21%. Bulldozer does 18%. I think the type combo is the story, but yeah, it misses Brutal Swing. Yeah. I understand that the typing is incredible. Like, look at the resistance profile. Do I still have... Like, the fact... Like, look at the resistances. It is 10... Oh, is that 11? 4, 8... 11 different resistances. That's insane. But... it needs to be able to do something. It doesn't Tink break up Jump Drape? Jump Drape? How does beat up Jump? Tinkaton does nothing if the Jump Bluff. Unless you mean as you jump. Like, put Jump Bluff in here. Let's just make it Shadow. Aerialize Acrobatics. Wait. Oh, wait, we do beat Jump Bluff? Oh, what the heck? Sorry, Tinkaton, I wasn't familiar with your game. Hold on. We can just Heavy Slam down a Jump Bluff? All evens, even the 1 shield versus 2 shield. What the heck? Yeah, resist everything hard. I see. Interesting. And Heavy Slam just does a nice chunk of change. Bulldoze obviously does nothing. It does 6 damage. We can do 2 Fairy Winds and that will do the same amount of damage as a full 45 energy Bulldoze. That's kind of interesting. What are these? Aerial Ace is 0.57 efficiency, 0.83. Energy Ball is 0.69. Okay, so even with Energy Ball. Energy Ball gets closer. Actually, is it just shenanigans because it's now just clicking on Acrobatics? That's the most common OGL core in high elo in my experience. I guess for the most part, I'm very much thinking about Show 6. But Jump Bluff is very big in Show 6 as well. It was in that sort of big 6 archetype. It's going to change stuff? Yeah, it makes sense. So, it's relatively strong into... I mean, again, here's the thing. It's strong if it isn't at an energy disadvantage. It feels like Tinkaton cannot afford to be behind. Because if it's behind into Jumpluff, all of a sudden Jumpluff can actually get a win. If it's behind against Alolan Sandslash, all of a sudden Alolan Sandslash is coming for it. If it's behind against Drapion, all of a sudden Drapion can come for it. If it's behind against Azumarill, all of a sudden Azumarill can come for it. It feels like a Pokemon that you need to pair well to actually see success. So what do you want? If you have a Pokemon that you need to give an advantage, what do you pair with it? And I guess you pair Pokemon that are able to flip things. Pokemon that are, I mean, there's risk strategies, and there's, you know, Pokemon that are very dependent on baiting, and you can land a big bait and then all of a sudden flip the tide of the battle. Like, you know, lands an Ice Beam from a Blastoise or something, and all of a sudden, hallelujah. To put in perspective, regular Mawile handles Jumpluff very comfortably too. It has Fire Fang though, right? This is a little different in my view. I mean, that's a great take on how to use it and how to beat it. You need an energy lead, or you use it as a lead to get an advantage that way. Yeah. You can't... Like, I guess you can safe swap it, but it doesn't feel like a very safe Pokemon. Oh, that's Fairy Wind? Oh, Fairy Wind. Oh, I see. Got it. Fair enough. Fairy Wind enough? I see. So... Malamar seems nice because you need to beat Claude hard? Yeah, I guess you could pair it with Malamar. Malamar has the advantage of potentially getting shield advantage off of opponents as well. And you'd love to be able to do that. Malamar Tinkaton. Yeah, I guess like I've seen a few teams running around and a lot of them do have Mud Slap. So I've seen a few Gastrodons. I played a Gastrodon Tinkaton team earlier actually. And so it feels like that's one way to go. Because you're right, you really need that hard check to Pokemon that are going to hard check Tinkaton. Clodsire being a big example of one that you are going to be able to do nothing. I mean, if we go... Let's throw in Clodsire. And we do have Bulldoze. Tinkaton loses so hard, it's insane. Wait, we're throwing Heavy Slam instead of Bulldoze? Heavy Slam is still more efficient. Oh, snap. Man, Bulldoze sucks. Dude, we're up against a poison type. Are we serious? We do get stabbed on Heavy Slam, I guess, but still, yikes. Finishes with 70 HP, not a lot of energy. We go straight Bulldoze and we get some debuffs. It's way closer, but... And they have less health and about the same energy. I think you definitely don't click on Heavy Slam. Tink is somewhat fake into Pluff. Also, hi Homeslice, hope you're doing well. Alright, let's take a look. Let's bring Jumpluff back on. Jumpluff. Let's throw Heavy Slam back on, because we're just going to be throwing straight Slam. This is the Aerial Ace Energy Ball version. 9 turns difference. It is 101 seconds, which means there's some pretty massive catching potential on the Jumpluff's part. Like, it very much might not go your way over the course of the battle. Shadow Acrobatics makes it very close. Okay. Why do we ditch Player Off, by the way? I'm just... You only have so many options, right? We can only use 2 moves. Pluff can even win something. Okay, let's put Shadow on and let's go Acrobatics. Hit, let's go. Tinkaton wins 9 turns Diffo. What do we... Okay, let's actually get successful baits. Baiting on... Battle. Okay, Aerial Ace, successful bait. Aerial Ace, successful bait. Land in Acrobatics, lands in Acrobatics. I mean, it is close. I mean, look at the health. This is one of those spots where like Egg IVs might actually throw you out here. So let's say we've got Egg IVs. Let's go like 10, 14, 14 or something. Battle. Tinkaton loses. Oh, hold up. Homeslice is actually spitting fire here. If you don't have enough of a HP pool, if you don't have a bulky Tinkaton, and you get 2 Aerial Ace baits, and that's a big if, in the 2 shield matchup, you can land 2 Acrobatics into it. What about the 1 shield? 1 shield, it says we're still winning. Land 2 Acrobatics, but I mean, okay, to be fair, this is also egg IVs, so you've probably got more. You've probably got more HP than this. They're getting a little close to that aerial ace. It's tough. They are getting the sensible bait here as well. Weird, not even baiting. Yeah, it's another one of these matchups. I think it adds to the pile in so many senses, in that Jumpluff is another Pokemon that if Jumpluff has the energy advantage, all of a sudden it's not a great matchup for Tinkaton, which is the same as Azumarill, which is the same as Drapion, which is the same as Alolan Sandslash. If Tinkaton is at the energy disadvantage, we are not in that good of a position. It is not a very safe Pokemon in that regard. You essentially need to build your entire strategy around Tinkaton in the heat of the battle. And I don't know if that's I know most players, most top players do prefer a lot of flexibility. So I don't know. Steve, what do I run for my expert push? That beats me, man. Look, I don't understand the Tinkaton meta yet. I've done a lot of scrims in the Tinkaton meta, and I have lost almost all of them, which is exactly why we're doing this stream. I'm like, okay, I've got a fundamental, I'm missing some knowledge here. So let's just get into the mines and learn. Run zero shield. People won't shield this matchup. I think that's a fair comment. 1 turn difference. Oh. They have the aerial ace that would KO us. Clunk, this is not making Tinkaton's case. Yikes. This is pretty dicey. Claydol also a bit fraudulent into Tink. I had someone tell me that earlier as well, in that it's sort of... Tinkaton resists Claydol's charge attacks, in that each of them only do like, I don't know, 19, 20% of Tinkaton's health. It's the Mud Slaps that are really the big damaging move. First Jumpluff though, if the Pluff has an energy lead, it's potentially lost enough health to go down before the last charge move as well. That's true. That's true. It's a good point. I think the takeaway in some sense is that it's dicey though, right? So like if Jumpluff is weakened a little bit, and it doesn't have too much of energy advantage, like this is a fine line. And so Jumpluff only needs a tiny little energy advantage to get this move in. One Fairy Wind would get it the move from full health. And so it's kind of like, well, how much energy does it have versus how much health has it lost, right? So it's a bit of a tougher calculation on the fly. It's a calculation you could make. Look, I know my skill level. I wouldn't be able to make those sorts of calculations. And not on the fly, that's for sure. So, I definitely wouldn't be out there calling this a safe matchup. What about the regular though? Is regular a bit safer? It's a bit safer. It says 5 turns instead of 1 turn. This aerial ace doesn't KO, I guess. Yeah, it doesn't KO. This is still the egg IV, by the way, right? Yeah. Which I think is probably the better Tinkaton to be looking at, because most people at the moment, they are running egg IV Tinkatons. But interesting. So Shadow Jumpluff is a little bit more free. It is still the case that energy advantage can flip this thing. I screamed a lot of people who ran Tink plus Galarian Moltres Core. How's that front accessibility? That is funny, but Galarian Moltres? I played someone with Galarian Moltres earlier, didn't I? Oh, actually, you know what? I'm getting confused with a YouTube video I recorded this morning. I uploaded that video with the Indonesian qualifier sweep. They play Galarian Moltres. I mean, Galarian Moltres actually qualified for the playoffs in Indonesia, so... But they didn't have Tinkaton, so... Well, as in, you know, it wasn't eligible yet. Okay. I'm a little underwhelmed, is the takeaway that I'm really taking out of Tinkaton. If you're facing Tinkaton, you do have to really consider it though. It's not like you can just ignore it, because it can beat pretty much your entire team. But it's also one of those things that's like, hang on, I have a thought here. Okay, this is something I experienced in my battles with Tinkaton. Tinkaton feels like such a strong Pokemon. It's got a lot of what feel like it should be really good matchups. But even when you win a matchup as Tinkaton, it's usually by a pretty fine margin, in that you usually don't have a lot of health left over when you're the Tinkaton. And so like this matchup, for example, against Jumpluff, like, you know, Jumpluff, like, oh, you know, oh, it's free. We've got, you know, relatively low health over here. Like we've got 28 HP remaining and 0 energy. If we go to, let's go to the Drapion matchup. Let's go to the 1 shield. Like we win the 0 shield, but let's go to the 1 shield. What are we left with? We're left with 21 HP, 0 energy. Tough spot. What if we go to the Azumarill matchup, where we just go straight Heavy Slam? Whoops, I can't type. 1 turn difference. We have 27 HP. Our HP is too low to be able to take out another matchup, especially because Bulldoze is such a terrible move, and Heavy Slam, it doesn't have that many targets to hit for super effective damage. And so generally it's kind of just neutral damage, and like that's all it's doing here. So I'm kind of thinking it's a little bit rough. Steve's pioneering method casting. I'm just putting myself in that position. I mean, I do say like we a lot, right? I guess Tink is mostly worried about Slap. A flyer makes sense. Oh, then I see. So as in bring a flyer to bodyguard it to counter against the Mud Slappers. I see. To be honest, winning with tiny health left is better than setting up nasty farms sometimes. I 100% agree. I'm not sure. What's up, Steve? King GBL, welcome in. How's Tink looking? It's... The word that I just said a few minutes ago was underwhelming. It feels like in all of these matchups that it supposedly wins, whether it's Azumarill or Drapion or Alolan Sandslash or Jumpluff, as soon as the opponent has an energy advantage, Tinkaton is all of a sudden going to lose these matchups. And that's not always a bad thing. I mean, that's sort of what we're talking about in chat, in the sense that like, soft losing matchups obviously gives yourself an ability to get a little bit of farm. And sometimes that can be really helpful to you. But when you've got a Pokemon that is susceptible to some amount of super effective damage running around, like as much as it is as bulky as Lapras, like a Hydro Cannon from Feraligatr does a lot. So I'm kind of like, I don't know. I was a lot more confident in Tinkaton 2 hours ago than I am now, is I guess what I would actually say. Feels like Play Rough is a must. Heavy Slam's such a bad move. I guess. It's a little more expensive. You're losing a little bit of cover. I mean, you lose the mirror match. Actually, in the mirror match, you just go Bulldoze. Heavy Slam is more efficient, but do you just go... What if we actually have it versus Free Wind? Which one is... Oh, our one, I guess. Because we get a Bulldoze at the end. Because we get to the Bulldoze quicker. That's not really a fair test, I guess. Maybe Play Rough is the... Okay, let's look at Play Rough, actually. So let's look at all these matchups again. So let's go to the Drapion, for example. Drapion, we were just going for the Bulldoze. So it's exactly the same as it was before. Henry hasn't recovered from the Hariyama Heavy Slam fiasco. No comment. If they actually buff Bulldoze, it'll be crazy. That's definitely true. Party Slashers, what do you think about Tinkaton? To be honest with you, I haven't looked at it yet. So I don't have a comment. I don't have an educated comment. Like, I could pretend that I'm smarter than I am, but I just haven't looked yet. So, unfortunately, Doze is unbuffable. Yeah. Is that because of Zygarde? Contributes. There's a lot of stuff with Bulldoze. There's a lot of Bulldoze running around. But, yeah, so this one, the Play Rough is irrelevant. Let's look at Azumarill. Because Azumarill, we were just throwing straight Heavy Slam. Now, I guess, now we lose the 1 shield. Straight Play Rough. It's close. We win the 0s and the 2s. Straight Play Rough, I guess. Straight Play Rough. Pretty convincing. Like, I mean, you know, again, energy advantage, but relatively convincingly in the lead, at least. Straight Play Rough. Okay. Sure. What about the jump off matchup? Because jump off matchup, we were also just throwing straight heavy slam. Tinkaton wins at about the same amount. It's just a slightly more expensive move, right? It's one extra fairy wind. What about the shadow jump off? Oh, and he's throwing energy ball. Let's check it with acrobatics. Tinkaton loses. This is running that. Oh no, it's actually with shield and acrobatics. They land to acrobatics. We are losing now against jump bluff. Let's put acrobatics on this thing. It might be similar. We do win against the regular. Obviously, you're going to see jump off. What are we gaining with player off? What was the logic of running player off? Because there's not going to be that many super effective targets. Malamar, or Sableye is technically the biggest one, I guess. But Sableye... It's close. Actually, it's just going straight bulldoze. We have player off, but we just need the bulldoze damage, I guess. Actually, that's such a damage differential. Okay, we're in the 2 shield. All right, we are in the 2 shield. Yeah, it lands a player off here. Can it just win straight bulldoze? Yes, wins all evens straight bulldoze. Sableye needs an extra 2 shadow claws to get to this foul play that would KO. Okay. Shadow Sableye. We still win. It has the move though. Doesn't quite KO, but we're talking IV dependent. And again, if we go egg IV, 10, 14, 14. We're gonna lose this, right? We still win. Oh, because they don't get to click on the move. It would be just exactly enough to KO us. But this is also banking on a 50-50, right? Oh, hang on. Is this going to be... If we don't get this debuff, do we lose? No. Well, it's charge attack priority. They go for the foul play. We go for the bulldoze. Whoever wins CMP, which is going to be the Sableye, right? Yeah. Sableye's going to win charge attack priority. So if we get no debuff, they actually win it. I mean, again, it's IV dependent, so grain of salt. Grain of salt. Niantic would never buff inaccessible Pokemon? No, not my Niantic. Scopely though. Anything on Zygarde or Steelix is not buffable. Ultra League very vulnerable to these mons. That's true. So no, my Sableye. Hey, Sableye's apparently got play. It's a 1 in 4 chance of getting neither debuff. 1 in 4 chance of getting the first debuff though, and that puts you in a much stronger position as the Tinkaton. Again though, if Sableye has an energy advantage, this isn't good for Tinkaton. You need to get lucky with landing on player off. If the Sableye has the energy advantage, you cannot let Tinkaton be down energy. If Tinkaton is down energy, you have lost. Can someone name anything that Tinkaton can actually beat even if it's down energy? Because, like, I'm not seeing anything. Sableye winning this shows how fraudulent this thing is. That might be true. The Lysopod. Oops, we're in sandbox mode. Battle. Tinkaton loses. Oh, we've got bulldoze on it. Bulldoze. Player off. Tinkaton loses. Straight Aqua Jet. Which makes sense because it's just faster. It gets close though. I mean, we're about to fairy wind it down, to be honest. We win the 2 shield? Okay, we're getting bulldoze baits. Straight bulldoze. You lose barely. We don't get to throw this last bulldoze. They win charge attack priority pretty comfortably. Straight player off? You win straight player off. I guess the Sims just didn't see this as a possibility. Fair enough. Steve, soft losing matchup isn't a bad thing always. Yeah, I understand, but do you really want to soft lose to everything? Like, I conceptually understand. I know that if you can get that little bit of energy in the back, I guess you can, it's a good setup Pokemon, potentially. But what you have to contend with is not only are you potentially soft losing to all of these Pokemon, you do also hard lose to quite a few. Because again, I was doing a practice tournament earlier today in the Inadequate server with a Tinkaton. And, you know, when you get it matched up against a Mud Slapper, game lost, man. It's rough out there. I guess you should probably, because I didn't have a Jumpluff or anything. Maybe if you use Jumpluff, then maybe like even if a Mud Slapper exists, you're in an okay spot. Claydol would be bad, but then Claydol's not as dominant of a matchup into Tinkaton as something like a Gastrodon or a Marowak is a much stronger answer into Tinkaton. And in those cases, Jumpluff would help you out pretty good. I don't know. Sableye only beat Tink if Tink has cooked defense. Claw bulk point. Gotcha. Yeah. Again, Hatch IV shenanigans. Which, hey, I've been seeing all these content creators post Tinkaton videos, all running egg IVs with under the guise of like, hey, I needed to get it out. I need to give it a run. And guilty as charged. But, yeah, I guess we'll see. I'll be interested to see. I really want to see what the Seville meta looks like in terms of how Tinkaton-y it is. I'm meeting with a local tomorrow morning to do a ton of Tink swaps. I bet you are. Rage for good IVs. Fingers crossed. Man, because I did all of these trades for Rookidee. I did so many Corviknight trades, and I got nothing good. It was like, what the heck, man? It was pretty rubbish, to be honest with you. But, well. Maybe we try again for the Tinkaton. I don't know if my newie local is still in chat, but if you are, let me know if we can do some Tink trades this week. But I've got like, I don't know, 5 to trade, something like that. Maybe 6. Maybe 7, if I recall. But hey. Okay. So, is there an example of another Pokemon that has done well in the Open Great League in soft losing everything? Because I understand the message in chat that soft losing isn't always a bad thing. But is there a Pokemon that's analogous that has been in a similar position that has done really well? The example that is coming to mind is literally Kingdom Cup, April of 2019, when I used a Dragonair strategy as a safe swap. Soft lost a lot of matchups. Soft won a few matchups and sort of did really well. I think it was actually my first big hit, I guess. I mean, it was my third video, but you know, we got like 3,000 views or something, and I was like, let's go. But it really took off because safe swapping as a strategy was kind of new at the time. But is there an analogous Pokemon in Open Great League? Because I can't think of one. Like Pokemon like Drapion, you're not looking to soft lose. Cardadees probably have 2 grand total. Heaps of Chargadays though. It's a tough world out here, man. Yeah, do y'all think they should drop these new Pokemon in strong or just do it like this? For example, Tink and Corviknight. I think it's reasonable to have them put it in as they are doing. Like, here's the thing. A Pokemon, the amount of complaints about inaccessibility is going to be dramatically increased if it was the ultimate golden Pokemon that is the greatest Pokemon of all time. If it is a Pokemon that you need, that is broken and is locked to 7k eggs, I mean, that's not going to go down well. So, with that, like, if that's how they're going to run it, it's probably reasonable enough. And we get a sort of a soft intro to it. I think it's a little bit more interesting of an intro to it. Plus, you know, Niantic gets the benefit of being able to sort of drop content in later. Credilli? Okay, well, Debbie, you're mentioning Credilli as a soft lose Pokemon. We use that for a Spring Cup strategy. I feel like it's not how it usually works in the Open Great League, but is it? It's kind of different though, because Credilli is debuffing your opponents, and so you are setting them, you do set yourself up to be able to get some farm on it, but you're setting up the opponent with energy on a nerfed Pokemon. Like, you've debuffed their attack. So you've sort of hampered their ability to actually do damage into your new Pokemon. And it's like when you swap in a Sableye or something to get that farm down, you don't have to be as worried about that one charge attack that's going to come through. So I don't think it works as well in practice for in Tinkaton's case, because it doesn't have the ability to debuff the... I guess it does. I guess you have Bulldoze. Like, you can go the 50-50s, I suppose. Maybe, actually... It's not as good. No, because you're dropping their defense. So you're actually reducing the amount of farm you get, is the debuff you're doing. So that's actually not good. It's actually worse. It'll be top 12 usage, but back half IMO. Very usable and solid, but not OP. I am inclined to agree with you. It's, to be honest with you, I actually, half of my head thinks maybe it actually falls outside top 12. I don't know. But it is going to be on that lower end for sure. Especially because I know that a lot of the European battlers hate using Pokemon that aren't good IVs, and so some of them won't be using it for that reason and that reason alone. That it's just too early for them to have a good one. Yeah, I hear that. The way they dropped in Annihilate was perfect, strong but accessible. I mean, personally, I hated the Annihilate drop because I was competing at LAIC the next weekend, and it was so unclear what was going on. The fact that it wasn't one Pokemon, it was 4 Pokemon in Annihilate, Shadow Annihilate, Primeape, and Shadow Primeape, and they all worked differently, and I had no clue what the meta was going to look like. I actually didn't like it. I didn't like it being on the ground, to be honest with you. Credilli low-key bad in Show 6 is my hot take. I mean, brother... I'm kind of with you, man. I made that tweet, right? That was like, we've got to put Credilli on fraud watch because it hasn't won a tournament yet. It's kind of like, I don't know, man. I'm not necessarily not with you. I think, well, actually, I was going to say, okay, if Tinkaton didn't drop, I would put a lot of money on it winning a championship this season. With Tinkaton coming in, it is quite a bit worse. Although, I was looking at the Heavy Slam one against, what if we just go Bulldoze Play Rough into Credilli? How does that play? Tinkaton loses! Oh, man. Oh, wait, we're in the 2-shield? We lose the 2-shield to Credilli? Okay, I think that is actually why I was running Heavy Slam, was sort of my primary justification. Was the Credilli matchup. I know that it's not like on the top of usage data anymore, but I guess I was putting a lot of respect on it as a Pokemon that would show up a lot. Especially if you're going to bodyguard it with a Pokemon like, you know, if you're going to bring in a Mud Slapper, whether it's Gastrodon or Marowak or whatever, you don't want to see Credilli. And so if your Tinkaton loses that matchup as well, I'm kind of like, ugh, I'm not so sure about it. I hate Pokemon that can't farm down anything like Credilli. Yeah, I guess even Pokemon like Drapion, like Poison Sting doesn't do nothing. Sometimes you do get that hard Drapion farm down and it goes absolutely crazy. But yeah, Bullet Seed is a little nothing burger. I mean, it's doing 2 damage every 3 turns against Tinkaton, whereas Tinkaton's doing 2 every 2. Yeah, because like, so for example, I put Heavy Slam on here. This is dominant. This is so dominant, it's insane. We can even tank another move and we still survive. I think you can actually, you literally win the 2-shield to 0. Heavy Slam just locks that up so hard. And in my limited experience, it actually scares a lot of people off of running Credilli in the first place. Even just having Tinkaton on your team. It's quite a solid bench pressure mon in that regard. It probably depends how tempting the rest of your team is though, because I'm sort of thinking about the Pokemon I was running with it. I guess Credilli didn't have like a lot of hard targets. Had a target here or there, but I don't know. It seems like people don't want to soft lose with it to everything. I don't know. Okay, well, I mean, I opened so many tabs. What are some of these other ones that can... I mean, Clodsire, we're going to lose regardless, right? Like, we're not beating Clodsire. That's just reality. Corviknight, we're going to also lose no matter what. Apparently 2-0 shield? How does this happen? Shield player off. Oh, wait. Oh, wait, 2-0. As in, we land 3 player offs. And we shield Ironhead twice. Yeah, I don't see that happening. Marowak, we hard lose as well. Yeah, 20 plus turns. Holy. Heavy Sand was 38%. Player off does 50. But yeah. Greetings! How's the Lapras matchup for Tink? I think this is another one that depends on moveset a little bit. So we've got the player off Heavy Slam here. Heavy Slam shield, player off, which I think means we can go straight player off. We have to only get one more Fairy Wind. So you can win the matchup straight player off, but if we were running that other one that we were looking at before, the Bulldoze Heavy Slam, Tinkaton barely wins straight Heavy Slam. Oh wait, you have to clinch the Bulldoze at the end. 1 HP? We're going for good IV Tinkaton? I'm not banking on good IV Tinkaton. I wouldn't be thinking that would be on lock. I guess that's one more, point in the player off column, I guess. It's not a simple matchup. We lose the 2s? Sparking Aria just outpaces us. In The Sims, I saw Tink loses to Azu. Surely not. It kind of depends on moves and such, to be honest. So, like, if you go... I want to say the default PvPoke ranking... Where is it? The default moveset is player off Heavy Slam. And so if we go... Let's just put in a rent. Where am I? Let's go Tinkaton into Azumarill. If you have... let's just say straight Heavy Slam. Straight Heavy Slam, we barely win by 1 turn. Although, is this a weird IV? Oh, this is a weird IV. Let's set it to default. Battle. Straight Heavy Slam, we win by 1 turn. Not ideal. Straight player off, we lose. Bulldoze is a terrible move, so we lose that anyway. So if you throw Bulldoze bait into the equation, it doesn't even go for it. It doesn't have time. So like, you don't have anything super effective, and to be honest with you, Tinkaton is lacking a good charge attack. Like, Bulldoze is absolutely awful. It is so bad. It is only... I have come around to it. I used to think it was good, and then I thought it was really bad, and now I've come around to I think it being a necessary move on Tinkaton in Great League. The only reason it's here, I guess there's 2 reasons. One is because it is the cheapest charge attack that Tinkaton has, and 2, the ground coverage is actually pretty important into the current metagame. Especially, I guess there's other steals running around, but mainly the poisons, mainly Drapion. Heavy Slam isn't that good a move. Player off, a little bit take it or leave it. It has a Flash Cannon. What does Flash Cannon look like versus Heavy Slam? Whoops. Heavy Slam is 44 damage for 50 energy. Flash Cannon is 69 for 70. So, Flash Cannon is a more efficient move, but like, it's not that much more efficient. Like, you can almost get 3 Heavy Slams in the time that you can get 2 Flash Cannons. So it's kind of like, when there's so many shields running around, when matchups are so dynamic these days and people are swapping out all the time, I don't think you run Flash Cannon. I heard someone actually suggesting it earlier today. I don't know if it was on Twitter or if it was in a YouTube video, but someone was actually gassing up Flash Cannon. I'm not so confident. That feels a bit rogue. Maybe it's one of those ones that you could like throw people off on the team sheet thing, but people are going to actually read Tinkaton's entry, right? Like they will actually check Tinkaton moveset. It's not like you look at Lickitung and you don't realize that you're facing a Hyper Beam Lickitung. This is one of those cases. Yeah, look. I'm not sure. What? The Claydol matchup was just a hard lot. Let's close some of these tabs. This is the Claydol one. Claydol, even though we resist all of the moves, like Rock Tomb does 17%, Ice Beam does 19%, one Mud Slap does 8%. It's like you've got 2 Mud Slaps and that pretty much does a charge attack of damage. So we're going for it. We're going for the Rock Tombs for the debuff, but that's pretty dominant for Claydol. Someone was telling, like, I know that it's not a hard counter, but like, are people really coming up to bat for Claydol is kind of fraud into Tinkaton? Like, really? Let's give Tinkaton 2 shields and Claydol 0. And it's still, oh, it is 1 turn, but like still. It's a pretty ridiculous scenario, to be fair. And you can actually just go no, can you just go no charge attacks? Actually, 1 turn. No, I guess you can't. Typhlosion matchup is terrible. I was really looking at Typhlosion. I really wanted to run it. Maybe? It didn't fit into the team that I was looking at the time, but maybe it actually does work. Because it also gives you some coverage into the Corviknights. Not only the fire type damage for the steel typing, but also the thunder punches. To be honest with you, Typhlosion is also one of my favorite Pokemon in the Great League at the moment. I loved it in the Dual Destiny season. Might and Mastery is a little more aggressive to it, especially how the meta has developed. There is a bit more ground around, there's a bit more rock running around. We saw 2 of them hit the top 16 at Atlanta, but that's about as far as they got. They didn't break into top 8. It could be usable though, especially with Blast Burn having such massive power. I mean, like if we just pull up the matchup here, and like look how much damage Bulldoze does. It doesn't even do half. It just. You shouldn't even throw charge attacks if you're the. You can just incinerate. They don't get the second. Oh, actually, you can't. You do have to throw the move. Wait, why? How does this math out? Put the moves back on. Wait, what? Did I not pay attention? Oh wait, Tinkaton wins. Can I not read? I think I need that comprehension test. Hold the phone. Wait. Active Jocks, welcome in. Study sesh is active. What am I missing? Why are we... How is Tink winning this? Porto's actually that's good. Oh wait, because we're in the 0... No, but even 1 shield. Oh wait, yeah. Typhlosion dominates. It's because we were in the 2-0. Sorry. Yeah. I think now you can use no charge attacks. Yeah, you 1 shield the Bulldoze, you eat the next Bulldoze, you take them down. Do you think more people will be running Tink / countering Tink, or will we be seeing the meta we saw 2 long weeks ago before Spring Cup? In the Go Battle League, I think that Tink countering team is going to be big, because it's the hot new thing, people like to try things out. In the Championship Series, I think that the meta is a little more resilient in a lot of ways. We are going to see more Tinkaton counters being used. So there's going to be Pokemon like Typhlosion, I guess. Typhlosion is going to have a higher usage percent in the sort of coming regionals than in the previous. But is it going to be a really significant jump? Maybe not. But I think that it's going to shore up like ground types. Like I think Diggersby is actually going to be pretty big. Let's put Diggersby in here. Like Diggersby just walls this guy. He's just like Player F does do 31%, but Bulldoze does kind of nothing. Are we thinking that Player Off is the way to go? Because I'm pretty firm on Bulldoze. Bulldoze has to be here. So it's Bulldoze Heavy Slam or Bulldoze Player Off. Heavy Slam, the main benefit you get is the Credilli. Player Off, I guess you get a few more benefits. It's sort of just a better neutral move, I guess, right? Like we just put up... Vigoroth is actually my favorite Pokemon to just use as a punching bag in terms of like just looking at move effectivenesses. So Player Off, 1.11 damage per energy. Heavy Slam, 1.04. Player Off does 67. Heavy Slam does 52. So yeah. And we know that Heavy Slam's a pretty bad move. So Player Off is better, but it's more expensive. As we know, you don't really want Tinkaton with that much of an energy disadvantage anyway. Thinking. Tinkaton. Okay, so let's build a team. Let's go to Team Builder. Like, what would we build with Tinkaton? So we go Tinkaton. And let's go with Bulldoze Heavy Slam, Bulldoze Player Off on this one, at the very least. If Tinker could be given another move to help it out, what would it be? Brutal Swing is the big one. If it just needs a fast... well, it was supposed to. At one point, it was going to be given Brutal Swing. But it would be very strong. Because it needs a fast charge attack that is actually good. Because its fast charge attack is currently Bulldoze, and Bulldoze is very bad. Brutal Swing, Giant Hammer, makes sense. That actually is... I didn't even think of that, but yes. You would call that a Brutal Swing. That's exactly what you would call it. Okay. I'm gonna real quickly duck off to the bathroom, and then we'll come in and I guess build a Tinkaton team, or at least try and conceptualize building a Tinkaton team, I suppose. But I will be right back. Thanks for being patient. Alrighty. Thanks everybody for the video. And thanks all for the plugs. Alrighty, let's get into it. Let's take a look at these teams, right? Morning, Thomas. Hope you're doing well. Let's take a look at how to build a team with Tinkaton. So, obviously, we have to bodyguard this guy. What is Tinkaton scared of? What is it? Sorry, so something under my foot. Like, what is that? So obviously we need a bodyguard against Mud Slappers. We also are a little bit scared of the fire types, so Pokemon like Typhlosion. Even Pokemon like Corviknight are quite scary. So one way to beat Mud Slappers is with something like a Jump Off. So you could run Jump Off. I feel like... Do you go aerialized acrobatics? There's so many... Is double water going to survive into the new meta? The answer is probably yes, is the truth. You're probably going to keep seeing some double water teams. It's not as prevalent as it was a few weeks ago. The usage rate of Lapras is certainly dropping. Feraligatr seems to actually be increasing slightly. So maybe that's the new double water team. What's the other water Pokemon that people are using? Other than Azumarill? Obviously Azumarill. Yo! The legend himself. Wow, welcome in! Hope you're doing well, legend. Looking forward to seeing you Anaheim way. Welcome in, hero. But Jumpluff moveset, I feel like Energy Ball has a place. Lapras, Dugong. Dugong is exactly the one that I was thinking of. Yeah, Dugong is being used quite a bit as well at the moment. Not always successfully. There's a lot of people that are running Dugong and it isn't doing too well for them. Let's run Aerialized Acrobatics. It feels like Acrobatics really gives you a lot of... actually, Blastoise, that is also legitimately one that is seeing some double water strategy. I think we saw it in the Astralis Shield tournament yesterday as well. So, well, we did see Blastoise, but I think it was in double water strategy. So, like, you could make a case for Energy Ball, but I think we'll go Aerialized Acrobatics here. That gives you some coverage into the Mud Slappers. What else are we scared of? We're scared of the Fire types, and Jumpluff is double scared of those Fire types. Look, I'm not proud of it, but we're going to put Azumarill on this team. We're also just instantly going to put Drapion on this team. Or are we too scared of ground types? Or are we just baiting them in? Because now we're sort of 50-50. Two of our Pokemon are weak. Tinkaton and Drapion are both going to be weak to those Pokemon like Clodsire. Diggersby is also going to start to become a problem. Because it beats Tinkaton. It has play into the Jumpluff. It has play into Drapion as well. So you could put a fighter onto the team. A fighter. Like you could put Annihilate on. You could put on the Ashton Ash Primate. I do like speed. I think that I've sort of learned for my personal playstyle, and maybe this doesn't work as much these days because the meta has actually slowed down a little bit. I know that it sort of feels like that's a weird thing to say because I even like on the Atlanta broadcast, I think they were still talking about the fact that this meta is quicker than it used to be. And that is true from like a year ago. It's not as true as it was from like 3 months ago. In the Dual Destiny season, it was... or was it before Dual Destiny? What was before Dual Destiny? What was the first big change after the World Championships where they changed literally everything? What was it called? I can't possibly remember. But you know, that change where they changed everything, where it became Feraligatr, Ariados, Drapion for the first time, Diggersby, Malamar. It was like 10 turns was the standard and 8 turns was around. 10 turns for a charge attack is actually becoming less the standard, and we're seeing a lot more Pokemon that are more in that sort of 12, 13, 14 sort of range for actually getting their charge attacks off. So it's actually starting to slow a little bit. A little bit. And so in the faster meta of 3 months ago, I was definitely doing better with Pokemon like Primeape that have the advantage. So like, you know, if I put Primeape in here, you can actually see the little move counts on here, which is such a helpful addition, by the way. Like, shout out PvPoke, an absolute legend. Like, you get to Rage Fist in 4, and 8 turns gives you such a powerful way to get back into the game. Not only from a sense of, you know, say your opponent swaps into, I'm just going to say it I'll say Jumpluff. Say your opponent swaps into Jumpluff. Jumpluff takes 5 Fairy Winds to get to every one of its, to get to every Aerial Ace. You swap into Primeape, you're behind one move because they've gotten one while you're swapping in. You're matching pace on the first one, 4-4, and then you outpace to the next one that they need 5 for. So you're actually able to take advantage back from switch advantage, put that pressure on. In Primeape's case, I mean, Jumpluff is a bit of a bad example because Jumpluff isn't that scared of the Rage Fist. And even Pokemon like Drapion that is used a bit of a safe swap. I mean, let's just pull that up actually. So if you go like Primeape, let's go Shadow Primeape, whatever, into the Drapion. Battle. Primeape does win. I wanted to go to the 2 shield. Oh wait, Primeape super wins. 1 turn. It's like, they shield the Rage Fist, they shield the Rage Fist, I mean, theoretically, you should be shielding the last one, but it's one of those points where, like, if they don't shield this one, they still lose. Like, if we take this shield off, they just get KO'd before we even get to a third one. So it's like, well, if they're going to use 2 shields, they should shield this one. But they shouldn't use 2 shields, is the bottom line. Thanks for the casters. Yeah, Diggersby Toxapex core. Toxapex used to be around. It didn't live very long, to be honest. It was around for a little bit. Or are you talking about a potential Tinkaton defense? I don't really know what Toxapex does for you. But yeah, this ability to just get on top is pretty huge. Even though Drapion is actually winning charge attack priority? What? Wait, what is happening here? What? Oh, we're baiting the close combat. We don't need to do that. Brother, you can throw earlier. Let's get rid of close combat, so they just go straight Rage Fist. Oh wait, we actually win by less? What in the world? Oh, wait, I was, yeah, no, it's all normal. I was just, it's because I changed it around and we looked at what happened if this was no shielded. It's all fine. So I like this sort of scenario. Could it work on this team? Like, what is Primeape doing for you? You have to be aware of the fact that Tinkaton is actually going to be around as well. So what does that matchup look like? Primeape into Tinkaton. Let's go player Bulldoze first. Let's stick close combat on it. Primeape wins. So we're getting to Rage Fists before they can get to their even low energy Bulldozers. And so we actually just force our way through. Our third Rage Fist connects before they connect a single Bulldoze. Bulldoze being a bad move. But we've also got debuff potential here. Fairy Wind goes to 9 damage from 7 after a 50-50 Bulldoze debuff. So let's actually put a debuff on this first one. Primeape still wins. Interesting. And let's throw Bulldoze straight away. Why are we not throwing it straight away? Oh, we're baiting again, I see. One shield. Oh, we're looking at the 2 shield scenario, I see. Okay. And if you double debuff? Doesn't quite do it. Player Fairy Winds are only doing 10 damage now instead of the 9, instead of the 7. All that to say, it's another matchup that you sort of, I guess, Tinkaton soft loses. What is the 1 shield? Oh, we have to get out of sandbox mode. Yeah, whoa. It's weird when it does this. I know that it does it sometimes, but we win the 1s, we win the 2s. We don't win the 0s, because in the 0s, Tinkaton is able to just land the player off and instant KO. So you do have to sort of, you can't just comfortably no shield. You actually do have to shield as the Primeape, because the threat of a player off is ever present. And I guess if you're the Tinkaton, I mean, you can go for the gamble that they're going to let a Bulldoze through, but if you let a Bulldoze through, you actually lose. Like, you know, if you're down a move, down a shield, I should say. Like, we're winning because we don't tank a move. Oh, this actually goes for the close combat. What if you just go Rage Fist? Oh, you actually need to land for close combat in the 1 shield. Ooh. Okay. So if you're the Tinkaton, I guess you just shield the second move if you're Tinkaton. Although you're banking on them being in the 1 shield as well, right? Rather than wanting to protect their Primeape, which they're likely to do. Like, they're more likely to go up to the 2 versus 1 if they're going to lose the 1. Because then you get a triple boosted Primeape. You've got, well, you don't have any energy ready to go, but you've got enough health that you'll likely be able to get something happening. Ow! I don't know what I just did. I think I just jammed my finger. Sad to see Asu being better again. What do you mean again? It's always been better, man. Does Panda just get wrecked by Tink? Poor Panda. Oh yeah, Panda does not love these matchups. Like, because it is double super effective Fairy Wind damage, even just the Fairy Wind does 10 damage alone, and it's only got 134 health. So like, even landing a big close combat, nothing it can do. Nothing to be done. Yeah. We need Tinkaton to use 0 shields, because even 2 to 1, not going to work. Even though we saw Panda have a bit of success in the Astral Shield tournament yesterday, not really the environment for it, unfortunately. You know, it is what it is. Let's see. What else? Okay, so if we go back to that team, let's just hit rate team on this and see what it throws at us. It's probably going to be pretty bad, to be honest with you. It's going to be pretty rubbish. I've been using Panda in my Show 6 Pick 3 team, but I think it's time to adjust with more Rink Smith played teams, yeah. I think it is time to drop Pangoro. Not consistent, not very good coverage, bad bulk, bad, well, you know, I guess middling bulk, middling safety, so yeah, pretty bad team. We're all using Clodsire. Oh wait, we didn't have ground coverage. Oh, because we were using Jumpluff as our Mudslap coverage, we weren't thinking about Clodsire. So like, let's put Gastrodon on here. By having Gastrodon, we are opening the floodgates to that potential double water strategy. We're opening the floodgates. Okay, now we've got B, A, B, B. I do like a lot of bulk. And so, instead of looking here, what is the weakness? So, like, Credilli is decent-ish. We are running the Player Off Bulldoze moveset, which is the worst moveset for the Credilli matchup. And so, Credilli kind of has play into everything here. So, I was saying Corviknight is a big problem. You know, beats Tink hard, beats Jumpluff, beats Azu, beats Drapion, beats Gastrodon. All of that is true. Skarmory, we're not going to see Skarmory. It still has Clodsire here because we only have one counter to it in Gastrodon. So we've still got ground types, Dickersby, Claydol, Alolan Sandslash with access to Drill Run. Talonflame is in here as well. Clodsire Stun Physics, yeah. It's sort of saying that we need more ground coverage. Jellicent is an interesting option that I've really been looking at the moment. It's kind of... we're not going to run Triple Water. I'm not going to go run Triple Water. Primeape actually pops up here. Interesting. What does our team look like? I mean, I guess Malamar is the other thought. Because it actually gives you probably a better Claydol matchup, I would suggest. Well, does it? Probably. We're going to bring our bulk down from an A to a B. It's the 4 Bs. I'm a B. And so, like, we have at least one counter to everything. There's only 5, 6 Pokemon. Oh, there's only 5 Pokemon that have one counter. One of them is Pachirisu, which we're not going to see. One of them is Skarmory, which we're not going to see. The other two are Clodsire and Corviknight. Clodsire... Clodsire is actually pretty bad for this team. Yeah, it's probably too bad. You probably can't let this team fly. I don't think you can release this team to the public because Clodsire, Clodsire, man, it's too ubiquitous to disrespect it in that way, I think. So, how do you fix that? How do you give a better coverage for the Clodsire? Drop Tinkaton. Maybe Primeape wasn't the way. Malamar is a little bit better for the Clodsire. This might work a little bit better. Clodsire wins every time. Okay, we've got the 4 Bs again. This time it's saying our big threats. Corviknight is now completely unbeaten. Claydol, we only have one counter. Talonflame has 1. Togedemaru 1. Skarmory 1. Fortress 1. Fortress, we won't consider. Skarmory, fine. Togedemaru, fine. Talonflame is going to be legit. I don't think that Primeape is a very good counter to Talonflame either, though. So, like, that's not really where that's come from. Claydol. Claydol beat Malamar? In the one shield? Brock 2. Foul play only does 33%. Oh, snap. Oh, Malamar is actually not that great. Like, I thought one of its major benefits was going to be its Claydol matchup, but it's not actually that great. And then Corviknight throws itself out as a bit of a problem as well. Like, here's the thing. If you're running Tinkaton, you have to consider that it is going to soft lose a lot of matchups. And so you're sort of saying that the other Pokemon, this isn't really the reality of their matchup profile, in that you'd sort of put a tiny bit of energy on them, I guess. If you want to make the absolute best possible case for Tinkaton, I guess you could say like, oh, but like, look at Drapion with 1 extra Poison Sting, or 2 extra Poison Stings, or 5 extra Poison Stings. I suppose. I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I'd love to see some teams coming out of Seville. Sort of see how Tinkaton is going to be used. Does anyone have any predictions as how big it's actually going to be? I know that Homeslice Henry before said it's probably going to be on the back end of that top 12 graphic. I do think that it is going to be in that sort of similar spot. I think it actually has potential of not even hitting the top 12 graphic. Potentially. But, I don't know. Look, to sort of summarize what I've learned in the last, hour 46 minutes. Tinkaton, in the lead scenario, looks like a pretty decent Pokemon. You're gonna win with not a lot of HP left, so you're gonna win switch advantage, and you're not gonna give the opponent too much farm. Notably though, a lot of Pokemon don't need that much farm to be hard to catch, so maybe that's a bad thing. Tinkaton then soft loses a lot of matchups if it's at the energy disadvantage, which could go to your benefit. I feel like it just lacks a strong matchup. Like, what does it do well? And I feel like it doesn't really have anything. It beats Pangoro. Like, Pangoro hasn't won a regional all season, so I don't know. I am a little underwhelmed. I have a feeling that we'll tune into the Seville stream and someone, Colin6 is going to go on a tear with Tinkaton and it'll be like, oh, wow, Tinkaton good. But I need to see more evidence of it actually being good. Tinker reminds me of my cousin. Tiny, wears pink and carries an attitude larger than a feather. Fair play. Okay. I don't know. I mean, people are free to disagree with me, and I'll do more testing. Again, I've run it a little bit in some practice tournaments. I haven't actually run the Play Rough Bulldoze moveset yet. The first time I was trying it, I was running Play Rough Heavy Slam. I was very underwhelmed. I needed Bulldoze. I put Bulldoze on it. It's a bit better. But so I had Bulldoze Heavy Slam, but I was still kind of like, I don't know. But maybe I should try Bulldoze Play Rough. I only have so many TMs. So I can't just TM forever. But maybe it's worth giving it a go. Potentially. Initially seems good, but needs more data in tournaments and in GBL. Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing, is like anyone competing in Seville this weekend won't have that data, right? So they'd have to go in a little bit blind. And then it becomes a little bit about making a read about what do you think is going to do well. And it gets a little bit trickier when you get put in those positions, I think. If you just... No, I was going to say, if you sort of remove everything else, like what does PvPoke suggest to you? But it sort of does that thing where it hyper fixates on like the top of their thing. So like if you click rate on this, for example, you'll see it sort of generate 20 threats, which, it's sort of a random 20 because there's a lot more Pokemon that beat it. And then it'll really just focus on that top 6. So it'll be like, oh, Mandibuzz beats all 6. Drifloon beats all 6. And so like, Mandibuzz... You have to worry about Stone Edge, Clodsire. Alolan Sandslash isn't a safe matchup for Tinkaton. It's not really a safe matchup for Mandibuzz either. So you'd like something... Talonflame could be interesting, actually. Abomasnow... Actually, Abomasnow is kind of... Abomasnow is kind of interesting. What's its pacing? 6 to an Icy Wind, 7 to an Energy Ball. And there's Poison running around, which is pretty bad for it. It's bad into Poison, it's bad into Fire, it's bad into Fighting. Okay, maybe it's not that good to Flying either. Maybe that was a Pipe Dream. Malamar does show up there though. Credilli's here. Grumpig. Whatever. Claydol, Dugong, Golisopod, Spiritomb. Malamar feels appealing. If Tinker gets a Comday, it definitely should get Brutal Swing. I mean, we'll see. I mean, it'll get a Comday eventually. It's a 3-stage Pokemon that's relatively popular. So, but we're probably talking, you know, more than 2 years down the line. The real question is, will Tinker be on Deb's team? Or Deb's stream? I think as soon as she's got a good one, she'll be running it. She's definitely on the Tinkaton fan train, that is for sure. But look, I think that is sort of where we're going to end things off today. We've sort of learned a little bit about Tinkaton. We'll see it in action, I suppose, in the future. Oops, I realized that I might have had a double audio there for a second. But look, let's... we've actually got something very exciting. We've got the Monterey Regional Champion is currently live. So let's go right off into Dunebug 97, the Monterey Regional Champion. Super cool. You know, won the biggest regional of all time in the championship series, and so go show Dune some love on that front. But thanks everyone for popping in. Thanks everyone for learning with me. Again, not planning on turning this into a YouTube video, but yeah, it'll be on the VODs channel, I suppose. So if you are watching this on the VODs channel, don't forget to subscribe. All content like this. But with that said, I'll see you all in the next one. Go show Dune some love. Tell him congrats on his big win over this last weekend, and I'll catch you in the next one. Laters. Bye.